Story 1. Not a specific skill, but a mindset-related one. Discipline. The ability to actually follow through on what you say you are going to do makes you a rarity in a world full of unreliable people and their excuses. Story 2. Communication skills. Learning how to express yourself clearly and listen actively can lead to fewer misunderstandings, stronger relationships, and better opportunities both personally and professionally. Story 3. Computer programming. Learned it when I went to university. Once I learned it, it literally unlocked something in my brain, and I was able to think much more logically and solve problems much easier. Story 4. I wish I had learned the art of letting go earlier in life. Embracing the beauty of release has taught me that in the space of absence, I can find my true self. Story 5. Cooking 100%. I used to live off ramen and microwave meals until I started college and realized I had zero clue how to make actual food. Now I'm slowly learning, and it's so empowering and delicious. Wish I'd started earlier. It would have saved me so many tragic meals and burnt toasts. Story 6. How to be quiet. Talking has gotten me in trouble because I would assume goodwill and amicable efforts. Big mistake. Trust no one because they just want to manipulate the outcomes of your life. Thanks for all the support. I made this comment in bad faith, like many comments I make in my post-jaded explorations to find out more about life. This was definitely an eye-opener, and I empathize with those who have been betrayed in this brief existence. Story 7. Just because someone asks you a question doesn't mean you need to answer it. Just because someone hands you something doesn't mean you have to take it. Just because someone tells you to do something doesn't mean you have to do it. Story 8. Letting go and distancing myself from people who I clearly knew were horrible for me took me over 7 years to get out of a sickeningly abusive marriage from day one and then of all the other people during post-divorce clarity. Story 9. Rejecting people. I'm too nice. Not rejecting a negative person can spread the negativity to you. Next thing you know, it's somehow you that will be in the hot seat. They are used to it and thrive in it. You, on the other hand, are left with the awareness. Story 10. In my 40s, I'm trying to learn a second language. I'm seeing young kids pick it up so easily. I could have leaned into it in my teens but didn't think it was important. Now it feels like one of the hardest things I've done. Story 11. The skill of selecting ingredients when shopping, raw ingredients for cooking. I can cook and I'm not too bad at it. Actually, for some dishes I'm quite good and they turn out with great flavor. But that's when all the ingredients are already prepared by my mom and I just have to cook. When it comes to shopping at the market or supermarket, though, it's really tough. I don't know which products to choose or what condition fruits and vegetables should be in to be fresh and easy to store. My mom makes it look so easy, and sometimes she even manages to get amazing deals. Story 12. I started playing drums at 35. I love it so much I wish I started sooner. Sure, I'd be better, but I just enjoy it so much. It would have been nice to have the outlet before. Story 13. Coping better with my anxiety and panic attacks. They hit at 5, so I forgive myself for not coping well. It would have been nice to be surrounded by people who had some understanding of how to deal with it. But my mom was just as lost as I was. Medication was limited, and general public understanding and compassion were low as well. I'm proud of how far I've come and how much change has happened in the way we talk about mental illness. Still, getting hit that hard, that young, has left a lasting mark. No matter how much I accomplish, how much I grow, I still feel about 30 seconds away from panic. Story 14. I'm 35 and a qualified industrial electrician, but I didn't start my education until I was 32. Had I started it 10 years earlier, I would most likely have had a stable job now and not be unemployed due to a work shortage. Story 15. Simple home and mechanical repairs. I lived in a very conservative rural community with strict gender role ideology. I wish they would have let me take at least an introductory shop class. In junior high, on girls' physical education days, boys took shop, and on boys' physical education days, girls got stuck in home economics. Then, in high school, you could not take shop or home economics classes if you did not have them in junior high. It held me back at work because I did not even know the name of some tools an operator would tell me to get for him, much less how to use them, so I could not move up and get a better paycheck. YouTube has helped, but it is not the same as having someone show you what you are doing wrong. For instance, I needed to use pipe tape to repair a minor leak. I used a whole roll trying to do it myself and then still had to call a plumber who had it done so fast that I could not see how he did it. I did not know how to take care of a lawnmower or get a finicky one to start, or how to hang a towel rack, replace a broken porch step that had a bolt I could not get out, do preventive maintenance on a furnace, etc. My mother had overkilled the home study version of home economics while I was in grade school so badly that I never wanted to get married, and my father refused to teach me anything about home and auto repair and maintenance. They wanted me to feel I could not take care of myself and would just settle for becoming a housewife. The toolbox was relatively cheap, and the lessons have been hard but have been worth it to be free. Story 16. How to express emotions into words in a way where people understand what I am going through or feeling. I feel like sometimes I get so overwhelmed with what's going on in my mind and can't put it into words, and this leads to so much frustration. My brain feels so foggy. Story 17. A man properly washing and drying laundry. So many stained, shrunk, and shriveled outfits and blankets. Read the labels, learn what they mean, and follow through. Story 18. How to have difficult, direct conversations respectfully. I was forced to learn it in the professional world, but it would have helped me have healthier relationships as a younger person. Story 19. Cooking. When I was a kid, my mom only had cans to open. I didn't realize how tasty food could be until my 20s. I couldn't believe it then, and I still can't believe it now. Learn how to cook. Story 20. Appropriate social skills and matching facial expressions. You all may think I'm crazy, but I was almost cult-level sheltered thanks to my biological dad. And now I'm overly expressive and can't lie to save my life because my face gives me away every time. Story 21. I wish I had picked up cooking skills earlier. Learning to cook not only saves money but also makes everyday life more enjoyable and healthier. It's a practical skill that pays off. Story 22. Cooking. My dad was the chef of the family and would shoo us out of the kitchen when he would make dinner. Because of that, I never learned to cook or developed the interest. I did become the baker of the family, though. Story 23. Setting boundaries. It's a lot harder than people tend to think, and I have ended up in a lot of bad situations because I was too afraid of people being mad at me for saying no. Story 24. Two things that are, according to those who study the effects of learning on the brain, are 1. Learning to play a musical instrument. 2. Learning a second language. Story 25. Organization. I'm pretty obsessed with it these days because it helps me avoid forgetting things, losing things, and being late. When I was a kid, I was the type who had a backpack and locker filled with wadded-up graded assignments more than anything else. Why didn't I use a trash can? I don't know, kids do silly things. I kept my room messy. My way of finding an outfit was to smell random articles on the floor to make sure they didn't stink. I ate poorly. Probably wasn't until I was 23, finished with school, and interested in finding a woman to live with me that I started making all these changes. It's a lot easier to keep a lady if you do the dishes. Story 26. Brushing my teeth correctly. I was winging it with a manual toothbrush for 30-some years before I switched to an electric toothbrush and also learned the correct brushing technique with a manual toothbrush. Story 27. I had been working overtime for 3 months straight and did whatever I could to stay productive in order to make sure no one else had to pick up my department's slack. I developed a bad respiratory infection and was the sickest I remember being, and I was forced to take time off. I came back functional but not 100%. I was 30 minutes into being back to work, and my boss came over to my office and told me I need to be sick more often because I am never this productive or on point. I started applying for jobs that day. Story 28. Not to lie. Even if it seems like it is going to get you out of a big problem, tell the truth. If we are talking little white lies, like if your friend is dressed for homecoming and she asks, "Do I look pretty?" You say, "Yes, you look wonderful." But if your boyfriend, girlfriend, or anyone important to you asks why you did something, almost always the best answer is the truth. Otherwise, your relationship is built on lies, and it will always come back to bite you. Story 29. Being assertive. I tend to get in my own head and convince myself that the person I'm going to say no to will take it personally and hate me. Slowly but surely, I'm getting better at it. Story 30. Money management. I'm in good shape now, but I spent a long time in debt with nothing to show for it because my parents never taught me anything about being financially responsible. Story 31. How to make good decisions in general. How to leave a bad relationship. Green flags to look for in a healthy relationship. How to be attracted to healthy people. Story 32. I've been working real jobs since I was 13. If I had known how to budget from that age, not only would I be debt-free, I would probably be well set for retirement. Without a budget and a monthly review of your spending, you could be throwing away money. I'm not saying to avoid getting your cup of coffee every morning, but just to realize and plan for it. Where you'll catch yourself overspending is the frequent $30 to $60 Walmart or Target runs. Story 33. Fighting. I think this hobby makes our brains control daily issues well. Programming. The future depends widely on it, especially for those who deal with technology continuously. Story 34. Weaving. I had always been vaguely interested in it, but never had the follow-through to adopt it as a hobby. I started last year, and it is one of the few pastimes I have been able to focus on and commit to without getting bored. And it's fun. Had I started long ago, I could have been much better at it than I am now. Story 35. Socializing. I'm polite and respectful, but past the first glance, I become horribly anxious and get stuck when trying to hold a conversation. I spend more time thinking about how dumb what I just said was or what the other person thinks of me, rather than what they are saying. Story 36. Not necessarily a skill, but a life lesson. A few great friends are better than a lot of good friends. I guess the skill is learning the difference. If the only time you talk to someone is when you reach out and initiate it, that is not a great friend. If they reach out to you when they need a favor but are always busy when you need one, that is not a great friend. You can still be friendly with that person and acquaintances, but it is not a friendship. Story 37. How to care about what other people think about you. I feel like the do not care what other people think about you advice is dangerous and is primarily what has led to the epidemic of loneliness in society. I know I fell victim to it. I am just now starting to realize that caring about how people think about me is more important than almost anything else in my world. Story 38. Humor. I wish I could redo my life and take high school speech and debate just so that I can turn my speeches into stand-up sessions with meme slides like I do now. Sounds cringeworthy, but it seems to work in college. Story 39. Not caring works wonders for the mind. I wish I had learned it before I got cheated on. I had to learn how to not care while caring deeply about how she didn't care anywhere near as much as I did. But in the end, I don't care. Story 40. Pole dancing and communication skills. Though I'm older now, I at least focused on communication and made a decent career out of that instead of the other. Story 41. Two things. Project management, which changed the way I see organizing everything in my life in a really positive way. Informal training helped with that. And assertiveness, I really believe everybody in the world needs to learn assertiveness training. If you want to learn, check out books on Amazon or videos on YouTube for training resources. Story 42. Anxiety medications can give you awful brain fog. If you can, try not to take them. Of course, everyone is different and has different needs, and it's wonderful to have some help when life becomes challenging. I mean, being on them long-term like myself, it is difficult. I wish I had learned to cope better and overcome my anxiety instead of taking medications. Now, if I try to stop taking them suddenly or get off them, I feel like I'm in and out of a dream. Story 43. Do not trust people on Reddit who ask if you want to be friends, then start to be friends and treat you poorly for no reason at all, even if you go out of your way to be nice to them. The kicker is they make comments about friendship as if they are experts. Why waste your kindness on such people? Story 44. Don't know if this counts as a skill, but probably the art of validating myself instead of seeking external validation. Changed my life a lot, and I feel more successful in my life because I approve of everything I'm doing instead of doing things in hopes of others approving. Story 45. Effectively saving and investing money. The magic of compounding is really insane, And one of my biggest regrets in life is that I did not start earlier. Story 46. Piano. I started lessons at 6 maybe, but a couple of months in, our house got broken into, and the one I practiced on was broken. My mom couldn't leave the house alone. She'd panic and would want to go back almost immediately, so she couldn't take me to lessons anymore. Story 47. How to eat properly. I grew up not knowing anything about nutrition or what and how to eat to maintain a healthy weight. I am still trying to figure it out to this day. Story 48. One skill I wish I had learned when I was young is to feel nothing in order to do something, and to feel nothing when something is happening. It can make me calmer when I face something terrifyingly bad. Story 49. Not caring what people think, also known as the spotlight effect. I and everyone else are not as important as we think we are, and people just don't care what you do or how you do it. Story 50. To understand who I am and what I want. If you know who you are and you know what you want, you are automatically more disciplined, more energetic, and structured to do what you want.